Hi, I'm Elaine. I'm one of the Health and Safety Advisors at Peninsula. Employers have a legal requirement to have arrangements in place to ensure their employees receive immediate attention if they are injured at work. It's worth remembering that it doesn't matter whether the injury or illness is caused by work, but that they receive immediate attention. This means that employers are required to provide or ensure that there is suitable equipment and facilities are adequate and appropriate in the circumstances for enabling first aid. The extent of first aid provision required depends on the size of the business and the number of employees and the risks presented. There are specific requirements on first aid under the Safety, Health and Welfare at Work General Application Regulation 2007. Employers have a duty to provide first aid materials and equipment at all places of work where working conditions require it. Depending on the size and specific hazards of the workplace, trained occupational first aiders must also be provided. An employer should undertake an assessment of the first aid needs appropriate to the circumstances of their workplace, also known as a first aid needs assessment. This is to assess the potential for accidents, injuries, and work-related ill health in the workplace. When the assessment is completed, it should be used to determine the basis of your first aid provision and the number of trained first aiders required. Where the need assessment shows there is a high level of risk, the first aider should be appointed in numbers appropriate to the risk and the number of workers. As part of your first aid of needs assessment, this will determine what first aid facilities, equipment, and training personnel needs to be provided. Employees and/or safety representatives must be made aware of the first aid facilities and arrangements put in place. The employer must also make arrangements where appropriate for external contacts to be made about first aid and emergency medical care. In addition to the above arrangement, details of all cases treated by occupational first aiders must be entered into a first aid treatment record book, which must be kept in a suitable, secure place, respecting their confidential nature.